My manager got a call checking on my availability for it, and he called me and he said, I got a call about this movie. It's the Barbie movie. Greta Gerwig's directing it. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are starring in it, and it's filming in London for 4 months or something. So I told them, you probably wouldn't want to do it because you probably don't want to go to London. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Call them back. Superbad.
So I is an imaginary number. It doesn't really exist. If I equals...
It was sort of this like long audition process. I felt I had to keep proving myself. I mean, nobody, they were I guess, felt like it was going in a good direction, that they kept bringing me back. But actually the way I found out I got the part was from Jonah. One day I got a voicemail from Jonah saying, hey, we're gonna do this movie together. So we have to hang out. Judd says we have to hang out. And that was really how I found out I got the movie and that Jonah was going to be in it. And I was so excited that it was going to be him because, you know, he hadn't sort of occurred to me as someone who could play that part. But when I found out it was going to be him, I really felt like it was going to be a great movie because I had done a couple table reads with Jonah actually for other projects. And Jonah was just always like astoundingly great at them. And he would be one of those guys sometimes that they would throw a couple parts at, you know, like you do a handful of parts. Every single thing that they threw at him, he would like make, you know, so interesting and so much more interesting than it was. It would just be a very flat thing and he would bring so much character to it. So I knew how great he was and was very excited to get to do that movie with him.
I should buy Becca alcohol?
Yeah, we pimp. That way you know she'll be drunk. You know when you hear a girl saying like, I was so shit-faced last night. I shouldn't have fucked that guy. We could be that mistake.
Jonah and I are friends to this day and I think we just are naturally friends.
I mean, it's up to you, Fogel. This guy's either gonna think, here's another kid with a fake ID, or here's McLovin, the 25-year-old Hawaiian organ donor. Okay, so what's it gonna be?
I am McLovin.
No, you're not. No one's McLovin. McLovin's never existed because that's a made-up, dumb, fucking fairy tale name, you fuck!
When we made the movie, I think it cost like $20 million to make. And so it didn't feel like a small movie to me. I mean, it already felt like the biggest thing that had ever happened to me just getting the job and getting to make it. So it kind of felt to me like a bit of a given that it would be a big movie or else it would have been a big failure. It was so popular and I was so recognizable suddenly, and so were all of us, and it's a strange adjustment to make, you know, but it was kind of helpful to do it all together, and we sort of just had our heads down and we're going on this like giant press tour, and it all just felt like this big, you know, tumble dry cycle of craziness. It's helpful to go through it together and figure it out as we went. Scott Pilgrim versus the world.
Can't wait to hear it when it's finished.
I was such a fan of Edgar's from Spaced and Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. Well, Edgar actually had visited the set of Arrested Development and was friends with I think with David and Jason and Will, and I didn't get a chance to meet him when he came, and I was kind of disappointed. But when I just, you know, when Edgar reached out, when I was even just in contact with him, I was really excited because I was a big fan and knew he was incredibly talented. It was exciting to me. It was sort of like too good to be true because I also loved the graphic novels. It just felt like fortunate to be the right age, the right time. Yeah, it was a lucky thing.
What did I do? What do I do?
It was so much fun. It was a long shoot, I think, I mean, for me in particular, because other people kind of came and went, you know, but I was there for, I think, 9 months or something, which is like an enormous amount of time to work on something. But it was so much fun all the time because we just had the greatest vibe with everybody. I think that basically trickled down from Edgar and the energy that he was creating. And we all got to rehearse together and spend a lot of time together before we even started making the movie. By the end of the movie, I felt like this is my world, this is my group of friends. It kind of feels like, oh, this is always going to be this way. And honestly, I kind of was a little depressed when we were done because it all just goes away, and you're like, where did everybody go? You know? So you kind of get used to that as you get older and as you're acting for a while. But I was sad to lose it. I could have kept making that forever, even though it was exhausting. We were kind of doing like endurance training more than anything, more than like bodybuilding or something, and like fight training, you know, choreography, which is just so unnatural to me and sometimes hurt. There were a couple times where I got hurt, you know, like I just even like blocking a kick, you know, trying to do a block over and over and find the right like point in space to put your hand. And one time I just went too low and received the full blow of this guy's kick, one of the stuntmen who was just kicking at a point in air. And it's an insane feeling. You can't believe it's happening in your hand. Like you didn't know that you had these muscles in your hand. Now they're throbbing for like a week. Like a train hit me in the hand, you know. It's very weird. Arrested Development. The thing is that the year before Arrested Development, I had done a sitcom that never aired called The Grubs, which was a Fox multicam sitcom starring Randy Quaid and Carol Kane. You know, it never aired. We shot 8 episodes of it. It was maybe sort of formulaic, like dysfunctional family sitcom. It was really funny. It was written by really funny writers, but it was sort of situational, and I was playing sort of a stock, you know, teenage part maybe. And then when I got the role in Arrested Development and had this whole storyline that was really insane of being secretly in love with my first cousin.
I should go to my mom tonight and be like, I met the cutest guy, and then she'll see you and me totally making out.
But not really, right?
I just remember being really grateful as a kid to have such a strange storyline in a show as a kid, because I feel like teenage roles in TV shows are sort of stock and you don't get too much to sink your teeth into other than being precocious or being whatever. So I was excited about that, and it saw a lot of humor in it, and you know, I just thought it was always really so funnily handled that Jason Bateman is just completely oblivious to it.
You stay on top of her, buddy. Do not be afraid to ride her hard.
I was just so excited to be a part of such a great troupe of actors too, and be around these people all the time was the greatest thing.
Do you know the last time that I made love to my wife?
No.
I'll tell you when.
No, don't.
See, nothing has ever been easy for us. I mean, the only reason she went out with me was to piss off her boyfriend. The only reason she ever married me was to piss off her mother. And then, of course, we couldn't conceive. So there was that famous ordeal.
What do you mean you couldn't conceive? Was maybe adopted? What? Is she not really related to me? Is she just some girl I know?
I was really excited when they started writing sort of these side storylines that involved myself and David Cross, like having one-on-one scenes together, because I loved David and I worshipped David actually before ever getting to meet him or work with him, because I watched Mr. Show growing up. Where I grew up, every Friday night there was the Tom Green Show and Mr. Show slotted as an hour, and me and my friend watched it like religiously. So when I heard David was potentially going to be in the pilot, I was like incredibly excited. And then they started writing scenes with David and I when he becomes kind of my roommate. We're like sharing the bunk bed at some point in one of the earlier seasons, and those were always so much fun to film and really hard for me to keep it together.
I have to wear it all the time. You'd never understand.
Oh, please. I'll never understand.
That you can never be nude?
I understand more than you'll never know.
Yeah, it was completely intimidating. They were completely encouraging and supportive with me and Alia, who was my cousin on the show, who, you know, we were the two children on the show, and it's like, it just is intimidating because they're all operating on this insanely high level of intellect and humor, and they're so fast and they're so brilliant. But even though it was intimidating, I feel like we just benefited enormously by getting to be around it and soak them up and be part of it and just, you know, be part of the fun that they were creating. Barbie. It was a kind of very last minute casting. My manager got a call checking on my availability for it, and he called me and he said, I got a call about this movie. It's the Barbie movie. Greta Gerwig's directing it, and it's filming in London for, you know, 4 months or something. So I told them, you probably wouldn't want to do it because you probably don't want to go to London. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Call them back. I mean, he didn't like blow it or anything, but he's like, I managed their expectations that you might not want to do it. And I was like, how can I not do it? It's like, I need to do it. So I somehow got Greta's email address, I think through a common friend of ours, and I emailed her. I was like, can I be in that? Can I do that part? And she was like, let's get on a Zoom right now. Here's a Zoom link. I'll be on there for the next hour. So she was just hanging out on the Zoom. She's like, just click that link whenever you're ready. And then we talked about it, and it just all happened really fast from there.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, hi, Alan. There are no multiples of Alan. He's just Alan.
Yeah,
confused about that.
I mean, Alan is a sad, figure. He's just a person that just doesn't really have any place in the world. Alan is actually based on a real doll that enjoyed a very short production run, I think, in like the year 1967. It just wasn't selling. I think the world just didn't need for Ken to have a friend, like to supplement that wing of the collection. It was like, Barbie is good. We can get a lot more Barbies in here and friends of hers, but we got Ken, and we don't need to go deeper in that direction like that. He can hold it down. So Alan kind of, fell by the wayside a little bit. Honestly, there's been so much anticipation for the movie ever since we even started working on it. I think it's just very infectious. Maybe there's just something in the world right now that people are ready for a Barbie movie. It feels like just the right time to have a Barbie movie. I mean, even on the set, everything was very infectious. Everybody was wearing pink shoelaces and everything, and it was fun. It was a good spirit right from the start. Juno.
What should we do?
Well, I was thinking I'd just nip it in the bud before it gets worse. Because they were talking about in health class how pregnancy, it can often lead to an infant.
Typically, yeah. That's what happens when our moms and teachers get pregnant.
When I read the script the first time, the thing that really grabs you is the rhythm of it and the dialogue.
So you're cool with that then?
Yeah, Wizard. I mean, I guess do whatever you think you should do,
It's very distinct in its voice, which I think Diablo Cody has kind of made her, her hallmark in a way. But I don't think anybody knew who she was when, that script came out of nowhere. And she just kind of wrote it in like a sandwich shop or something and really carved this voice, out of nothing. And I think actually she had a blog that she was kind of a little famous for at the time. But reading it for the first time, that's just the thing that really knocks you out is kind of the voice of it.
I think I'm in love with you.
You can meet as friends?
No. I mean, for real. Because you're like the coolest person I've ever met. And you don't even have to try,
I try really hard, actually.
I remember when the movie came out, there was some, promotional effort that involved a bunch of guys dressed in those track suits, or the running, outfit, and running around Hollywood in a cluster, which was just, kind of funny and uncanny. Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. The thing that most drew me to it was Pete Sollett, who directed it, and he had made this incredible movie, Raising Victor Vargas. It was stunningly great, that movie, and just wanted to do anything with him. And then there was an amazing script by Lorene Scafaria, who had adapted it from a book, but did this great job with the script. So it just felt like it was going to be good.
So that's it, Tris. That's the breakup mix. 10 songs from my broken... That's not even real. Can we go straight to laughing about this?
I have to pee.
It was a month or longer of night shoots, which is, strange biological experience. Sleeping with the sun up and garbage trucks going by and life outside your window and not sleeping very well. But I was, I think, 19 when I made that movie and having the greatest time. Because we would wrap at 6 a.m. and then we would go get soup at Veselka or go, hang out. Honestly, it's probably the reason I live in New York today, because I really fell in love with the city and the feeling of just wandering through it and how alive it is and how generous it is as far as a texture of life. There's just always something of interest happening all over the place. And sometimes you have to guard yourself against it. It can be a lot, but I was just so drawn to it.
I got this.
Hey.
What's up, friend? How you doing?
I was just gonna go in there.
You walked right in here, didn't you, little bird?
I didn't mean to, I'm sorry.
You're like a little canary in skinny jeans, huh?
Well, I was gonna go in there just to look for my friend.
Oh, you got friends right here. Me and Switzerland are here for you, baby. Hey, thanks for coming by. Let me ask you a question. You ever hook up with a dog?
What? No. What? A dog, like a pet? No.
Don't. It's not worth it. I like you so much.
I'm running away.
With that era, there was a studio independent movie genre almost where they weren't really independent. I mean, they were financed by studios and they would cost a lot of money, but they sort of are labeled independent. They're sort of a flavor, like a lane that they found, a genre or something. It seems like it's gone. I mean, it seems like it's an era where that model doesn't work anymore at where movies being made at that level or at that budget that aren't, superhero movies or something that will be guaranteed to have an audience, it just seems like a sort of relic of that time. I'm not sure if it'll come back, but like a $10 million movie or something, which used to be kind of normal to get made, and now I don't think they're being made anymore. I think you either make now like a very small movie that we can go make like with this crew, or a giant movie. So it's a little weird. It's changed. This is the end.
Hey, hey, does this Coke smell funny?
Oh, fuck, Michael.
Fuck, no, that's fucking expensive shit, motherfucker.
Fuck, dude. I've never fucking done cocaine, dude. What is the fucking...
Well, you did the best shit possible for your first time, because that's good stuff.
Oh, fuck.
I'm not sure whose idea it was. I guess it was Seth and Evan. And the thing that like was hugely beneficial for me on that movie was that I kind of came in late. They had been shooting, and they'd been shooting that house party sequence in particular for, at least like a week or so before I got in. I kind of had to come in late because I was just finishing another job. So when I got there, they like filled me in on what everybody had been saying about me. They had all been kind of describing me, creating a character really for me to like step into. And so they told me all of that, which was hilarious. And then it was really just like all there for me. I just have to live up to what they're saying. I have to be weird. So that was, yeah.
That's not cool.
Don't touch my phone.
Michael, that's not cool, man.
Fuck up, Jason. We're playing a game, man.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely hit me, yeah. But I wanted that, I think it's a lot funnier and a lot more convincing. A fake slap just doesn't look good. So she hit me hard. She really sent me flying, and it was great. And now it's on film forever, this pain that I experienced. Twin Peaks.
Look who's here.
It's Wally. We're so excited he came in unannounced.
Good to see you again, Wally.
It's good to see you too, Sheriff Truman. As you know, your brother, Harry S. Truman, is my godfather.
Well, the full story actually is that I met David Lynch, a year or two earlier because I had done a transcendental meditation course where you go to the center, they teach you how to do it, they give you your mantra. You go for like an hour over 4 days. They just kind of make sure you've got a handle on it. And the fourth day when I was leaving, I was with a few friends of mine. This woman just appeared, and she was a young woman. She said, "My name is Pookie. I work with David Lynch. Would you guys like to meditate with David sometime?" And we were like, "What? What do you mean?" Just unbelievable invitation. And, came out of outer space. And we were like, that's insane. Like, can't even say how profoundly important he is to me. I got there first. I was the first one there. I went up and met David alone for like 5 minutes. And he was just so sweet. I was like, what is this going to be like? I'm coming to his home. Is he going to be annoyed? Is he just kind of eye-rollingly allotting this time to us because someone convinced him to? What is the situation? But he was so welcoming, so warm, so happy that we were there. It was the four of us, and we sat in his like art studio at the back of his house and meditated with him and talked for a while. A friend of mine who was there, Jocelyn, was about to make her first film and just had questions for him, like, do you have any advice on directing? And he gave great advice, very practical advice. And that felt like it was going to be it, and I was like grateful to ever have met him. And then a few years later, got this invitation to come work with him on this show for 1 day. I think I was on that set for like 2 hours tops, and that was just like the greatest experience.
I've crisscrossed this great land of ours countless times. I hold the map of it here in my heart, next to the joyful memories of the carefree days I spent as a young boy. It was very specifically written. It was a monologue. They said in the script, I think, how I was dressed and that I speak like Marlon Brando. That was basically all that was provided to me. And so I prepared myself and wanted to show up completely prepared, but open to whatever he would want to adjust or do or whatever. But we hardly talked about it on set. Like, we did it a couple times. He came over, I think mostly he gave me notes on like some of the punctuations in the monologue, like really hit that comma
or whatever, you know, small things like that, shaping the rhythm of it, and then just like very supportive. And we did it just a few times and it was done. And I really wish I could have spent much more time working with him because it's really a joy. The adults. It is sort of a very mysterious character as written because a lot is withheld. The ambiguity actually is sort of what the driving force of the story is, actually, the ambiguity that's happening between the characters, this distance, this gulf that's happening between them. But that was, I think, what was compelling to me about reading the script, actually, is everything that's living in the darkness of the characters and of their history and that we don't know. And the little pieces that we do see are what we have to draw our conclusions from.
I have my hand.
Yeah? Any good?
I think it's good.
Yeah, I have a hand. I don't have the nuts or anything. I played poker, you know, before doing the movie. I used to play in a home game, a weekly home game at my friend's house, which the game still stands, but I don't live in Los Angeles anymore, but they still play. I used to love playing just for the social aspect of it, just to be there, you know, joke around, and I would kind of just throw my money away and lose. I would lose, you know, and then there are some people that were playing at a different level that seemed to have like an understanding of the game and the fundamentals of it. And so I knew that they were playing on a different level than me, but I was never really too curious to go deeper with it until I got cast in Molly's game, and then I thought, maybe I should read a poker book, and see what they know that I don't know. There's something going on that I don't know, but maybe I should just get interested in it. And then once I did, I found it like so bottomlessly fascinating. I really love poker to this day. Love playing it. I have kind of seasons where I'm good at it, and then other times where I'm just terrible and just can't get a handle on it. But it's fun.